Okay, hi. Welcome. It's Calls with Your Kinky Bestie. I'm Emma. I'm your kinky best friend, and I have a short one for you today. It's kind of silly. It's not super related to kink, really at all, but I wanted to share a breakthrough that I had recently around my sexual health journey with urinary tract infections and manifestation. And I really hope someone can take some value from this because it has been such a game changer for me, like putting all this stuff together and realizing that I can manifest things around my health and my body too. It doesn't just have to be around my physical circumstance or my partnership or anything like that. It can go even deeper. So I'm going to share this little anecdote and what worked for me. Of course, all under the disclaimer that I am not a doctor, so talk to your doctor if you've got issues with your urinary tract too. I'm just sharing this little tale of what happened to me and how I was able to put this all together. So, anyways, hi, hello. I have a history of urinary tract infections. I have gotten them since I was a really little kid. Um, it has just kind of consistently been a part of my life. And as a caveat to that, I was also raised in a super conservative household where, like, talking about, taking care of your genitals wasn't a big thing. Of course, talking about it in relationship to like sex and sexual health was just totally out of the question, besides like a bunch of fear mongering and like don't go there kind of stuff. So I every piece of information I learned about like taking care of my genitals was stuff that I had either picked up from like my middle school in a Catholic school, kind of health teacher, but also kind of my religion teacher and math teacher, who was limited in exactly how much she could share because of you know, the context of being in a Catholic school. And, stuff from I've occasionally heard from my mom and just all that kind of stuff. So I really had to do a lot of research and unfortunately trial and error to learn about how to take care of myself. And this resulted in, of course, urinary tract infections because I was under this misconception, that for everybody, you should not be using soap anywhere near your pussy. You should only be using like water and like rinsing and just kind of letting everything take care of itself. And well, I now know that is true for a lot of people. It wasn't true for me, especially because a lot my urinary tract infections. Because if you don't know, it's usually just like bacteria going up your urinary tract. Sometimes it can be, just a lack of. You know what? I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to speak too much to how this works for other people, but for me, it was always happening around sex. So I would have sex. I would pee immediately afterwards, like I had, anecdotally been told. And then I would still, pretty frequently get a urinary tract infection a few days later, where I'd feel super uncomfortable, be near tears on the toilet, having to set up a minute clinic appointment at like my local CVS or whatever, having to like adjust my work schedule because I'm in pain, or taking, azo, which is, crazy. Pain relief for urinary tractions that's literally a bladder anesthetic. So God, it can be really tough on your body. You can only take it for like seriously a couple days at a time. And while it really works to numb the area, like it just definitely wasn't a long-term solution. Though it does provide fast relief, it doesn't actually fix anything. Like for urinary tract infections, like you have to seek care. It's not something that you can wait out and really take care of on your own. You got to go to the doctor. You got to get on some antibiotics. Like, just do it. So, in the process of this being a consistent part of my life, I got to a point where I was so fed up with it, especially, I just came up on the 1 year anniversary of being with my partner, which is so wonderful and exciting. But, during this time of being with my partner and having this amazing, super active sex life, I was getting urinary tract infections more frequently than usual because of this. And yeah, I was just getting so fed up with it because they're so uncomfortable. And sat myself down and went, okay, well, the past so many years, I've had all these urinary tract infections happening recently. For things to be different now, I can't be behaving the way that I have been behaving. Like something's not right. I've got to make some changes. I got to change my mindset, my like actual physical behaviors and my understanding of this and attitude towards it and just everything. So, what is it? And then I would, oh my gosh, what if I applied manifestation principles to this? So, manifestation, you're breaking it down to basically like, ask, believe, and receive are like the really it's just those 3 bits. So you figure out what you want, you ask for it, you believe you can have it, and you start acting like you can. And then with receiving, in acting like you have it, it starts coming to you. And part of receiving it is allowing that to come, not self-sabotaging, just letting it happen to you and being grateful for it and looking to, keep that going and elevate it even more. So I decided to apply this to my urinary tract infections and decided what I want to have. So I want to have a healthy urinary tract. That was my manifestation goal. And in order for me to believe that that is possible, I had to start looking at my behaviors and my past behaviors that made me not believe it was possible. Um, were washing my pussy with water, being scared to really talk about this with my doctor, um, just peeing after sex, not putting too much other thought into it. And when I would get urinary tract infections, like sometimes it would take me a while to act on them. I'd prioritize getting to my shift exactly on time, or just kind of forcing myself to wait it out for some reason rather than just getting help immediately. Um, and of course, it just led to the problem being worse, and it's just not something you want to mess with, especially because it's so easy for urinary tract infections to escalate very like it could be you have a urinary tract one day, very shortly after you get a bladder infection, and then it can even go up to your kidneys, and you can get some pretty serious body damage, that can have like long lasting impacts on your life and your functioning. So it's really important to take care of these things, so that they don't get to that point. And also just so scary to think that like, oh wow, it really just takes maybe not thoroughly cleansing your booty, before having sex, and then maybe not peeing immediately afterwards to like all of a sudden, oh, now you're susceptible to having a kidney infection. It's crazy how the body works. But like those are the types of things that I was doing. So, okay, for me to believe that it's possible for me to have a healthy urinary tract infection, I took a look at what that would be like. I have a friend who has never had a urinary tract infection in her life. And so she is not the person that I go to empathize about it because she seriously has no idea what it's like. And good for her. That's the energy I needed to be in because is so oblivious to that kind of pain. She can't even like imagine it. And she also drinks like a gallon of water a day. She's constantly drinking water and pissing it out. And that is just her whole fucking life is on the toilet, I'm telling you. But you know what? She has a healthy urinary tract, and that is the behavior that I want to embody. Um, I also started thinking, okay, for it to be possible for me to have a healthy urinary tract, for me to believe, that this can really happen for me, and like an inspired action that I can take is really openly communicating about it with my doctor. So the next time I had a doctor's appointment, I laid it all out there of exactly what was going on. And it was the most helpful conversation I've had with a doctor, honestly, because just within a few minutes, she was able to, like, you know, kind of give some suggestions based on like my lifestyle and what I was explaining to her that would work for me. So she addressed me saying, that I had been taught to only ever wash my genitals with water. And she told me, "Oh no, if you can get away with just water, absolutely do it. But if you're just using water and it's not working for you now, then you gotta step it up. But you're right. You can't just use any body wash. You've got to use something fragrance free." And so then I'm asking her, okay, if I'm a person who has a healthy urinary tract and I'm going to the whatever store and getting the products that I need to be a person that has a healthy urinary tract, what are those products going to be? She told me to buy fragrance free, non foaming, no surfactant, super gentle face wash for my pussy. Who knew? But it was just something that like I wouldn't have been able to get that information unless I was actively seeking out having a healthy urinary tract goal. And it was so awesome. So I got a fragrance free little bottle of face wash that I keep in my shower, and it is just for my pussy. I don't even use it on my face. I prefer other things for my face. Um, but it's so awesome. And so now as I'm like taking showers and stuff too, I'm thinking of this idea that like, okay, I'm a person with a healthy urinary tract. So that means that I'm doing things like super thoroughly washing everything. Maybe I'm taking more showers than is usual. Maybe I'm being super mindful about timing my showers to happen like directly before and after sex and all that kind of stuff. Even if that means I'm just hopping into the shower just to wash the area that I need to be washed to have a healthy urinary tract. Those are the behaviors that I'm embodying as a person who has a healthy urinary tract. And I'm going to say that about, I don't know, a good amount more times in this little episode because that is the goal here. That's where I am. So I'm having conversations with my friends who have healthy urinary tracts and all their tips. And I'm talking about it online too to kind of surround myself with that. And I have a friend who told me that she uses um, D-Manos or D-Manos. I don't know how to say it. But I do know that there's this little supplement that you can take that kind of repels bacteria or like it sticks. It's like a sugar that it might be a sugar that like attracts bacteria to it. So then it's easy to like whenever you pee out the sugar, it pees bacteria out with it. And that was something that I did bring up to my doctor when I talked to her, and she kind of told me like, the data seems like maybe this is helpful for some people, but it's not super definitive, and it is pretty expensive. So maybe let's just look at an antibiotic if you need it later. So obviously do your own research, talk to your doctor and stuff. But I have a friend who has a healthy urinary tract, and this is how she does it. She takes the supplement. She said she used to take it every day, but now she just does it like, immediately on the days that she has sex, and it's super helpful for her. So you better believe that's on my nightstand right now. And that is something I'm taking regularly. I'm actually about to finish my first bottle. And it's been a game changer. I've really been into it. Because the thing is, even if this supplement is maybe overpriced and not great, another thing my doctor did say is like, okay, well, I don't see harm in it. I just don't, see definitive, super fantastic results, but there's not harm in doing this. So do it if it makes you feel better. But, you might be wasting your money. So under that context of this is not hurting me because of the quantity I'm taking it and the data behind it and all that kind of stuff. Just me having these pills on my nightstand is another reminder to me that I'm a person who has a healthy urinary tract, who is taking supplements and flushing out my urinary tract by drinking lots of water and peeing after sex, and doing all the cleansing things I need to do also. By believing it's possible for me, that means acting like it's possible for me, acting like I'm a person that has a healthy urinary tract. So these are the steps that I took. Another thing that my doctor told me to do was to, we talked a little bit about underwear because I am a person who loves wearing thongs. It just works with my body. Other types of underwear just don't quite sit right on me, cut weird into my clothes. And it's just not the look for me. I don't like it. It kind of, bikini cut kind of things kind of cut into my booty cheeks. I kind of have a big booty, whatever. Thongs are it. So I've always worn, since discovering them, I've totally switched all of my underwear to thongs. I think I have one pair of underwear that is not a thong. And the all of my underwear is organic materials. So most of them are cotton, but I do have some that are like knit bamboos. Maybe it's just cotton and bamboo actually, but they're natural materials, which is advised to have a healthy operating urinary tract, and that was another thing my doctor talked about. But they are thongs, so it still is this little strip of fabric that is able to rub around and get super close to your orifices and rub around a little bit. So with all that in mind, and still knowing that uh, even though this is a natural material that is breathable, things aren't getting stuck behind, still the style of this being a thong means that bacteria might be rubbing around down there. Well, that's not going to work with my healthy urinary tract. So, in order to keep her happy, my doctor recommended that I just not wear underwear the day after having sex. And what a freaking game changer! So I am just on such a different path now and have been learning so much about my body and just feeling so much more comfort and like awareness around my body too now having this knowledge. And as a result, I've been feeling very, very happy. I have not had a urinary tract infection in a few months now, I'm happy to report. And you know what? If I were to contract one, then that is more information for me to learn that, okay, the things I'm doing now are not are not getting me all the way there. So maybe for me to believe this is possible for me, I've got to have another conversation with my doctor. Maybe we're talking about, the next step and even bringing in, more regular antibiotics into the picture, like whatever it is. There are options for me because I am committed to having this outcome for myself. And the alternative is living the way I've always been, um, and suffering with the consequences of that. And I am just not available for it anymore. I am taking steps to, yeah, create the body that I want to have. And this is how I did it with with my own urinary tract. But this is so applicable to everything. Because, if you want to be a person who has a certain job, you have to believe you can have it, which means seeking out, ways to get the qualifications for it and acting like it's possible for you by actually applying to it and talking about it, talking to people about it, and just totally shifting that mindset. And I know this, usually looks very different for dating and when we're talking about kink and things like that. I hope that, hearing this example of how this can be applied to your physical health too, kind of brings another perspective to manifestation. It doesn't always have to be this super whimsical thing, though I love when it's super whimsical. Just examples like this that kind of ground it back to reality, show me how exactly impactful this can be, in other aspects of my life as well too. Because if it's unclear for me to see how acting like, this certain type of partnership is possible for me, can actually get me those results, but then doing it for, in a kind of a more concrete way, where you can see results faster, um, get a little bit more clear guidance. Because when you're talking about like health, usually it's pretty easy to get cut and dry, like right or wrong, yes, this works or no, this doesn't kind of answers, which is not always the case with dating. Everyone's got their own opinions and stuff. And of course, that's going to be the same with dating as well too, but there's a little bit mm, more room for, I'd say, contradicting opinions. And just being able to really ground it in like these real life situations, it just totally, goes to show how quickly, things can happen slow for you or things can happen fast. It is totally up to you. And I decide that I want to have this body now that has a healthy urinary tract. So I am seeking out the solutions. I'm talking to people who are living proof of those solutions in action and believing that that's possible for them so it can be possible for me, and just doing the fucking thing. Because you know what? I could live my life just in a urinary tract infection Facebook support group and surrounding myself with the pain and pity of like how horrible this can be, or I can just be doing something about it. And that is what I choose to do because I choose to have a healthy urinary tract. And you can too. Obviously, talk to your doctor. But yeah, thank you for listening to my little blurb about my urinary tract. And for listening to me say that phrase so many times. I will see you in the next one. Bye.